Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cluster API, our weekly office hours meeting. It is the 6th of August. As I'm sure everybody is well aware, we are a sub-project of SIG Cluster Lifecycle, and therefore we abide by their rules of conduct, which we can boil down to let's try not to talk over each other, use the raise hand feature in Zoom. Let's make this a happy, welcoming place that everybody can participate in. We don't really have many issues here, but just to cover the basics. If you'd like to add your name to the attendees list here, please do so. Helps people recognize each other and just so we remember who was here. And let's start out with open proposal readouts, which is just up here. Do we have any updates on propagate taints from machine templates?
Nothing new from last week. Unfortunately, another escalation has distracted me.
Sounds good. And then there's chained and efficient upgrades. I think Fabrizio's on break and probably nothing has happened here, but
yeah, nothing new is unfortunately on PTO.
Fortunately for him.
No, he really deserved it. So good that he's not here.
Okay, so that's it for open proposal readouts. We'll hump into discussion topics. Fabrizio put this on the board, but I think everybody's going to be in violent agreement with this one. Stefan merged 1,000 PRs into Cappy, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if I've done that many in the last few years. And you know, I think it speaks for itself, but it's great to have you here. You are really keeping the lights on and keeping things running, and we all appreciate it. I know, I mean, like just yesterday doing the release, even though we tried to get things going early, I know that basically keeps you up late or keeps you working late, and we're all aware how hard you work, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else wants to pile on, please do so.
Yeah, big plus one, man. Like Stefan, thanks for everything. 1,000 PRs, man. That's wild.
Yeah, maybe I should stop there.
Yeah, right.
No, I don't know.
All right, next thing we're going to be expecting 10,000, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, this could take a while. But I guess you need goals, right? So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you, Stefan. Yeah, besides helping in the upstream, he's also very good at helping those of us here in VMware by Broadcom. So he's very available. So yeah, thank you, Stefan.
All right, I guess we will move on to the next one, which is we dropped the first release candidate for V111 yesterday, meaning in practical terms, you know, the bar is a little higher now for things that you think might get into 111. It's probably too late, but if it isn't, then we have to cherry pick it from the main branch to there. So, as long as things go well, we'll have another release candidate next Tuesday, and then the V111 release will be 2 weeks from today. Let me look at the release notes real quick. If anybody wants to editorialize about here's the highlights, but this is for sort of everything up until now. And the diff since beta 2 is maybe what people are interested in. This is basically last week's changes.
Yeah, I can maybe say a little bit. So yeah, basically we got like the last few changes in that actually changed something. Also the release highlights are now like basically final. So I found the time today to just go through all PRs and just finish them up. So if you scroll up, like the highlights section is now pretty complete, let's say, or at least like the high level points of it. There's like a large section around beta 2, and then there are a few more additional things that happened. It also links somewhere to the actual like migration guide, and then some section for the upgrade to Kubernetes 134 for workload clusters and like this etcd problem that we talked about a few weeks ago, and then a section about like mostly stuff that has been deprecated in the past that we removed, and basically a new deprecation of like the old API groups. That's more like a formality, right? That when we have beta 2, alpha 1, beta 1 will eventually go away. Just like nothing more to that than this. Yeah, otherwise I think we're now at a point where yes, we can still cherry pick stuff, but the expectation would be usually that it's like bug fixes, test coverage, a bit more documentation. Otherwise, usually nothing, or we need to have at least a short discussion. At least what I do know is that from my and from Fabrizio's side, there's nothing else planned there apart from a bit more testing, a few smaller fixes. So one thing that is still open is basically want to audit our logs a little bit and maybe clean them up. Because it could be that we have few, let's say, too many error logs or too verbose logs. So that's like one thing, but that won't actually change any behavior. It will just clean up the logs a little bit. Yeah, otherwise, I think now is the time to actually bump, test, complain, so that if something's not working, we can fix it ahead of the .0 release.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to revisit trying to get things working in Cap C because there was a lot of churn and I kind of stalled out, but this seems like the time to get back to that. And I want to point out, in addition to reviewing, and merging most of these PRs, this big block of very helpful text is something that Stefan also did, which is a large amount of work, and it can be thankless, but let's say thank you very much for.
Yeah, that was mostly Fabrizio's work, I have to say.
Oh, okay, okay.
Also, if you click at this, like in the middle of your screen, C cluster API 1.10 compared to 1.11, that's like the full list essentially. Also, if you scroll a little bit down, just until you see the first YAML. So basically, we did like side-by-side YAMLs of like before and after. So yeah, here's like everything. What I would usually do for bumping is I would probably read through, like, I mean, I would definitely look at the YAML diff if you have to adjust YAMLs, or I mean, the YAML before and after. You can do the diff by yourself, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of very fine granular notes, like we changed this field from bool to bool pointer. I would, if I would be you, I would be skipping over those notes, honestly, and just fix up compile issues if they occur. But around those sections, there's also a bunch of additional notes, like on how to migrate as a provider or as a Go user of Cluster API. Should be all linked from table of contents at the top. Definitely let us know if you have questions or suggestions on how to improve this. Yeah, it was definitely a ton of work. Fortunately, Fabrizio did most of it.
Well,
But yeah,
it's really appreciated. I know you guys both put a lot of effort in on this, and just comments and other documentation. And frankly, this is an area where a lot of open source projects kind of fall down. Like we write the code and then we fail to provide migration notes. And CAPI is at a higher standard. I think it's great. Okay. Do we have any other questions about the release candidate? Anything to say? If not, I mentioned this last week, and I'm just repeating it because. Oh yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Again, this is maybe just a question to coordinate on the 1.11 release. Stefan, I know like your colleague had posted that PR to the cluster autoscaler. Do we want to make sure to get those into the autoscaler before we do the 1.11 release? Or I guess like, is there any timing we should be aware of on that side?
So ideally, we get it in as soon as possible and also backport it, let's say as far as like reasonable, whatever reasonable means in autoscaler, right? I mean, if people care about older versions of autoscaler, they have to eventually resort to like downstream cherry picks or something like that. But ideally, like in general, as soon as possible and as far back as possible. But whatever works for the autoscaler community, I think, basically. Timing wise, essentially, this fix will be needed if autoscaler should work with CAPI 1.11 without pinning the CAPI version to beta 1. If that makes sense. Right. I mean, people can always work around by pinning, but they also eventually have to remove the pinning depending on when they upgrade cluster. So it's like a super annoying situation in general, like pin to beta 1, and then in a year they have to stop pinning because beta 1 is gone. But yeah, I mean, that's the situation. We're just doing what we can then.
And then for backporting, I'm guessing if we take it back 3 Kubernetes versions from when 1.11 is released against, is that going to be sufficient to cover like any skew that we might run into?
I think what I would do from an autoscale perspective, probably cherry pick it into whatever the maintained release series in autoscaler are. I think there will be always people who run older stuff, and I'm pretty sure that applies to us. But I think those people just have to downstream cherry pick worst case, right?
Right.
So
But at some
I
level,
just don't know like what is sort of okay for the autoscale community. So
right.
basically, Copy itself has like a super wide skew. So let me check for a second. But I
Okay.
think
I'm
Copy
just thinking
111
like the Kubernetes version that V1 Beta 2 is released in kind of gives us a little bit of an indication of
yeah,
like
I
how
can
much
give you that
skew,
info. That's no
right?
problem. Yeah. Okay. So Copy 111 supports workload cluster 1.28 and above.
Wow. That's a large skew. Okay, so
Yeah.
we should,
Yeah. So
if
that's
we, I don't,
six or
yeah,
seven. Yeah, six versions basically. Right. We release on 111.0 is basically Kubernetes 133, and including 133, it's six versions back until 128. 134 will actually only be done in 111.1, just to give like a full picture. But yeah,
okay.
so but I don't expect like, if basically autoscaler is like usually maintaining like 1, 2, 3, 4 release series, then
Right.
I don't
Right.
expect them to backport like 6 versions or something.
Yeah, I don't think the community is going to want to do a 6 version backport, but 3 is probably doable, maybe
Yeah.
4.
Yeah, I
Right.
think what might make sense is maybe align to what Kubernetes is still supported with, right? So Kubernetes is roughly
Right.
supporting like 3 versions. So maybe,
Right.
and then autoscaler is always like one-on-one matching that. So maybe that's reasonable. I don't know.
Right. I was thinking if we could go back to 1.31 or 1.30, that would probably be enough for
Yeah.
the autoscaler.
Yeah, but definitely match to Kubernetes support policy.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Any other questions about the release candidate or 111 plans? Looks like no. The next thing is a repeat from last week, but we're still looking for volunteers for the next release team. Not a lot of time, but it's very helpful. So please let me know or just go into the release channel if you're interested or you know someone's interested. That would be wonderful. Hoping to have that nailed down by next week, but I don't have that many volunteers right now, so I need to work a little harder on it. Next up, Lyubomir, do you want to talk about moving the test grid dashboard?
Yeah, this is something that I saw a PR that the cluster API operator, they were trying to create multiple dashboards on the SIG cycle. If you open the main test grid link, you'll see that with cluster cycle, we have this is called a dashboard group, SIG cycle. And inside of it, we have our sub-projects. Yeah, here on top, these are the so-called dashboards. Now, in the dashboard group, we have multiple dashboards, and currently a project is represented by a dashboard. The only exception is Cluster API, which we're doing, still doing versioned dashboard entries. If you look there, we have the Cluster API 1.9, 1.10, 11, and so on. And Cluster API operator also wanted to do this, and I said I think this is not a good idea because it will be quite noisy on our dashboard our group for dashboards for SQL Lifecycle. So I mentioned this to Stefan today on one of the PRs that are at the 111 dashboard, and I went to SIG testing and we started the discussion with them. What should we do? So the problem here is there's a missing feature in test grid where we don't have the nested groups. So there's one group, and inside the group there are all the dashboards, and that's all.
Hmm.
So we proposed that maybe we should move Cluster API to a parent group. So if you go to test grid, the main link, we propose to move Cluster API to be here. If you look at there, we have Istio, KOps is here. So I think that's fine. They approved it, and it's a matter of sending the PR. I'm not sure if anybody from the release team, anybody who has responsibility related to creating the updated test jobs wants to take it. If nobody takes this, I can do it maybe next week. But I just wanted to bring this for discussion and everybody has any objections, eventually the nested groups will be supported, but that's not clear when it's going to happen.
Any questions, Stefan?
Yeah, I just want to say sounds good to me. Thanks for discussing this with SIG testing. The only important thing for me is that we have one dashboard per branch. I don't really care in which dashboard group it is. It also looks like that the URLs are basically just a dashboard, which means that the links are even staying stable, even if you move a dashboard into a different dashboard group, which would basically be what happens, right? If you move the copy dashboards into a copy dashboard group.
So the links
You mean
don't break?
are you sure about that? Like it's
Yeah.
the
If you
dashboard ID is on top of the root. I see. Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
think
great.
this is just the name of the dashboard, right? What we see in the URL. And that's now the name of the job on top of that after the hash.
Yeah.
I see. And they might have to actually change this if they want to support nested groups,
Yeah, I
unless
mean, maybe also it's not super collision free, maybe, right? So you have to make sure that all dashboards across all dashboard groups have unique names. But I mean, we have that at the moment. So I guess that's okay.
that's a problem. Okay, that's a problem for SIG testing to figure out. Yeah. I see what you mean. That's the separate dashboard for branches makes a lot of sense. In KubeADM, we have a relatively small amount compared to Cluster API, but we just named the particular test job to be unique enough to understand that this is particular release branch that you're testing, right? So, but if you have 100 plus jobs, it becomes really noisy, and it's also test grid is not helping because it's difficult to scroll in the list
Yeah,
of jobs.
exactly. If you click, for example, on the vSphere, it's right below 1.10. And the top level bar, I guess, and then you higher up.
Sorry,
right?
I'm super
One more up.
nearsighted. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, if you click here, essentially, here we don't have that, right? And then if you look at like all the jobs there, so what's still sort of nice is that somehow it doesn't start like with the scroll bar for you. I just have like 2 lines there in the scroll bar, and it's super hard to find jobs.
It's
Yeah.
narrower, the scroll bar.
Yeah, I don't know why it renders differently for me, but yeah, I think we agree in general that it's that's sort of fine, or better for some projects at least.
Do we have a KOps here? I
KOps
see
has
that-
its own top level dashboard group. I
Yeah,
don't know.
they moved. I didn't see even when they moved. If you go to you can click the green square on the top left, by the way. Yeah, so they did this. And before, if you look the amount of stuff they have here, they used to be in a single dashboard, which was pretty crazy. KOps have a lot of tests, and I think
Oh
it
yeah,
makes sense.
they're also, by the way, they're also still in the SIG cluster lifecycle dashboard group. There's also a SIG cluster lifecycle cops in there.
Oh,
But it's I think with CubeUp it's a separate effort. It's a CubeUp
okay.
replacement.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the groups have to be the nested group have to be supported because
Yeah. Just one question: is the idea to only move core cluster API out, or cluster API and all providers?
I want to understand that the providers will probably want to have separate dashboards for themselves, but I don't want to be too annoying for SIG testing because
Yeah.
first of all, they have to approve it. We don't have permissions to create new root groups. And I think everybody has to go and ask because I don't want to go and ask for every single project. It's a bit of a
Okay, but the one dashboard group that you would create, would it be for a cluster API, including the providers, or would it only be core cluster API?
So the problem we're trying to fix, I think, is core copy has the multiple branches for dashboard, so we should
Okay.
probably have the top.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I'm only asking because the copy operator would be the next one, right?
But
What
so
we're saying is if they want that, they should also go ask, right?
yeah, the thing is that the cluster API operator wanted to do the same as copy, but the volume they have is very low. They don't have. If you click on the
Okay.
cluster operator, you see that they have like I think a few jobs.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to click.
It's a cluster lifecycle dash cluster API operator, I think.
I think they have like 16 jobs or something.
It's not very obviously how to navigate.
It's the second line from the bottom for me. Cluster API operator, third line and to the right. Yep.
Yeah.
Two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there. Thank you.
Nice.
I'm a low vision user.
So they do have things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe they don't need a lot of.
Yeah. This is fine. This is fine. I think also kubeadm we're kind of fine as well. But anything above I don't know, like 20 test jobs becomes a little bit a nuisance to navigate in test grid. One of the best ways I think is to just look at the summary. In the summary, you have the actual list, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, we're basically also rotating through our dashboards there, right? So basically, we're adding 111, and then we're going to drop 18, and always rotate this way. And yeah, it's just nice to be able to see like the different health state depending on the branch because they might be very different.
Yeah. Let me check. Sorry for dragging this out. I'm just
That's fine.
trying to understand a few things on the fly. What can we get an owner's file? That's the other interesting topic.
I mean,
Because
what would be nice, basically, if cluster API maintainers can improve their own dashboards? Is that what you mean?
sure, because
Because we also have to ping, like, you always have to ping SIG cluster lifecycle leadership, which is usually fine because I'm just pinging Fabrizio.
yep.
But it would be better if we can just manage our dashboards the way we can manage our jobs self-contained.
I mean, I respond pretty fast as well, but let me see where.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, no question there. But let's say conceptually, it would be nice, right, if basic core copy has its own dashboard group that we also core copy maintainers can approve their own changes to their own dashboard group. Not really necessary. We definitely get the approvals fast enough from you or Fabrizio.
Yep. It's okay. I found it. It's here. Just share it in chat. This is the location where we define the owners in the groups. So this means that now we're going to create a top level folder in this particular folder, and
Oh, perfect.
it should be owner file and a config YAML. And the way they sharded test grid like 5-6 years ago, there used to be a single config YAML for everything, which was
Fun.
very difficult to manage. But now, yeah, I think we just need to PR the Kubernetes folder with a cluster API folder and cut some of the cluster API dashboards and just put an owner file.
Yeah, that
And
should work.
you know, as long as we have cluster API maintainers or release team members, it should be fine. You just approve and that's all.
Yeah, if you want, I can open the PR tomorrow. Because if I open the PR, then you can approve at least the SIG cluster lifecycle part of it.
Sure, yeah, that's fine. We can ping the same people from TSIG testing, and it will be
Sounds
ready.
good. Okay, we do tomorrow. Thank you.
Are you talking about to update the owner's file or for this reorganization of stuff
The
in
whole
general?
thing.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Okay.
So basically, I'm going to PR a new folder into this on exactly this level for cluster API with a
Yep.
new owner file. That owner file will be basically a mirror of the owner file we have for our cluster API jobs. And then on top of that, I'm going to remove the core cluster API dashboards from the SIG cluster lifecycle dashboard group so that they're not like duplicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just take the parts of the config that are relevant and then the nested structure of the config YAML, and then when test grid is compiled, it just takes the multiple shards and compiles a single config YAML. But you should probably, I don't know if you want to put me as well. You can put me if you want to.
Sorry,
But
I had some noise in the background.
yeah,
You're asking
I'm,
if I should add you as well?
yeah, you can add me as well if you want. No problem.
Yeah,
No problem.
you're already in the regular. So we have in the cluster API folder for jobs, we basically have a list of reviews and approvers, and you are part of it. So you'll be also part of the new one automatically, sort of.
That's fine. Yeah, if I'm not, it's also okay. No problem.
Yeah, no, makes sense. That's good. Justin is also there. So I think it's a combination of core cluster API maintainers and SIG cluster lifecycle leads that we currently have.
Yeah, probably. Okay, I'm gonna put a note inside our meeting notes that we agreed that this is fine and we can proceed with change. Thank you.
Yep, we'll open the PR and ping you, and then you can take a look, and then we can ping everyone else.
All right, sounds good.
That's great. Thank you. Sounds like you guys are on the same page, but
And we'll figure it out on the PR if you're not.
don't want you to sign up for everything. It does seem like a release team task. So if you stall out or need time, just let us know and we could probably take it over too.
Yep, so sounds good. I think it's like 5 minutes if I got it right. But thank you very much for offering.
Cool. Any questions about test grid stuff? Does anyone have any other things on their mind? Any Cappy stuff last minute here? Otherwise, we can call it a day for. I guess let's do that. Hopefully, see everybody next week. Thanks for coming. Have a great rest of the week.
So, bye-bye.